Had to stop the washing machine and the dryer. There's always something going on here. So I just had maintenance here. Uh-oh. Okay, well, let me see if I can get out of here. Uh-oh. Oh, what happened? Welcome on in, welcome on in. Let me see if I can get back in here. Oh no, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, really? What's happening? Ah! Stop it. Okay, so hi lovely, hi lovely. Hold on, I have to reset this. Oh my God. It's not letting me go in by the page for some reason. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. No, wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. Wait, no. What? Okay, no. Wait, that doesn't look right. Hold on. Got the wrong one. It's like, wait, that doesn't look right. Okay, there it is. All right, all right, all right. See, I couldn't be a secret agent because if it required me to do a lot of computer stuff, Secret Agent Burns send over that file. I'm like, oh, did you get it yet? Copy and paste it. How do you do that? How did she become an agent? I don't know. With my intuition. Okay. They did it. What evidence do you have? I'm just hearing it. Be in trouble. All right, so today is Monday. Happy Moon Day. We're in kin number 6, White Rhythmic World Bridger. So here I organize in order to equalize balancing opportunities. I sealed the store of death with the rhythmic tone of equality. I am guided by my own power double. Da, 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 da. And here is the color white. No, not really. Mars, chakra, throat, and cardinal. We do have a rune. And it says Confucian is the illusionary mind created dilemma meant to be overcome and evolved out of. Let me read that again. Confusion is an illusionary mind-created dilemma meant to be overcome and evolved out of. We're having third mental sphere activation here in consciousness with the fourth time dimension cosmic cube and beta waking conscious mediumship with gate 144. So Let me pull this one up so we can go ahead and start with the medicine of the day. So, are you ready to see you? Is today's question. Are you ready to see you? What if you, Blackberry, okay, we got a Blackberry one. What if you woke up and everything around you was different? Now, I'm going to tell you what happened to me last night, okay? And then I'm going to tell you about the dream I had, which was really kind of cool, but it was weird at the same time. So, last night when I went to sleep, I was getting myself rested. I had just hit my knee and it hurt like God only knows what. And I'm like, oh God, is this ever going to stop? You know, hit the knee and then it flares up the pain. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get myself comfortable and I lay down and I go to sleep. But for some reason, I don't know what was going on, but I wake up because I set everything into motion. And I said I wanted the divine physicians to come and work with me. You call to them. They come from the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 20th, 24th dimension divine physician. So when they come into your space, they can work on you. They can reset you. They can do all their divineness that they do. And I said, anything that is non-divine, that is not divine, you have to get out of here. Get out of my space. And that was that. So I'm laying there and I close my eyes. I go to sleep. And it must have been maybe about 45 minutes into sleep. All of a sudden, I just wake up just in time, I kid you not, to see a gold plasmic being. It was only about this big, about like that big, being that was laying on the side next to me. And when I open my eyes, I see it rise up and it goes, and then it went straight through the air, shot through the door, made a ruckus out there. And I'm like, you didn't have to just leave like that. You went through the door and everything and made a ruckus. And I'm like, you know, whatever got knocked over, I'm not gonna go even look because I'm not doing it. I'm staying right here. And I went right back to sleep. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Gold plasmic being was right next to me. So I go back to sleep. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this room. And I'm in this room with these altars, all these different altars. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that altar. Oh, I love that altar. I love this altar. And then all of a sudden, this woman shows up and she looks like my mom, but she doesn't look like my mom. And I'm like, Mom. She goes, hi, lovely. I go, you look like her, but you don't feel like my mom. She goes, oh, don't worry about it. I want to show you something. And I go, okay. So I follow her and she takes me to this room. There's this big altar in there. Had all these candles. It was just big, pretty altar. And I said, oh my God, that's so gorgeous. She goes, but wait. So she reaches up and she pulls on this velvet ringlet thing and she pulls the cover down. And as soon as she pulls the cover down, the whole thing vanishes. I go, oh! And she goes, you like that? And I go, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I go, yeah, I like that. And she goes, well, I know how you feel about when, you know, you get people that got to come through your room for something and do something to fix something or whatever. And you don't like your altars out and you cover them up so they don't have to see them. I said, oh, yeah. And she said, well, this one, when you pull the cover down, it automatically makes the whole thing just invisible. I thought you would just like a little upgrade and some magic with that. And I go, oh my gosh. I go, how old is this? She goes, it's been in our bloodline for over 300,000 years. I go, she goes, that's right. Absorb that. It has traveled all around the world. And I was like, you're giving this to me? She goes, well, honey, it's yours. You've had it all along. I just didn't have the time to just kind of bring you here so you could see it. I was like, what took you so long? Oh, come on. I'm pushing 60 and you just waited this long to show me this? And she goes, everything has a divine arrival when you're ready for it. There you go. I go, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Can I take it with me? She goes, oh no. This one's here when you need it. I go, okay, wait, I'm confused. She goes, this is your dimensional altar. And I go, you mean like right now? And she goes, yeah, right now. Come to it anytime you need to. When you need to get something done. And she goes, that's all. And then she just walks away and vanished. And I'm like, but. And I look at the altar and I'm looking at all the symbols on it. I'm looking at how the wood and how it kind of has like a life force around it. And I'm like, well, it's just a remake of American Gods. What is this? You know, looking at it. And so I go up to it, I reach up, and I roll it back up, and I go, okay. And it's very velvety, and I pull it back down, and it goes, and it vanishes. I said, this is so fucking cool. I love this. Oh my God, I just love this. I have no idea where I am, but I love it. So then I wake up, and I go, what? And I look around in the room, and I'm like, okay, altar. Am I doing an upgrade? What am I doing? Is something coming? Am I going somewhere and I'm going to see it? Okay, it's dimensional. Okay, got it. I got to go. Okay. And go back to sleep. And then I just sleep soundly the rest until it's time to get up in the morning. And when I got up and I was walking, I'm like, that whole thing about the altar was on my mind. And I said, there's something more significant to this about the altar. The altar. And the way the red velvet came down. So I took that as the root, blood of life, sacredness, power. That's what I took that as. And I was like, okay, it's been around for 300,000 something years. So I'm just going to kind of sit with that for a while, and I'm paying attention to certain things that's happening. And I'm looking at it like there's something up with that. Okay, so our rune is the rasa, if I'm saying it right. We got blackberry. Blackberry. So what is the blackberry plant for? Blackberries are so good. I can eat blackberries all day long because they're so good. And drizzled with honey on top. You have to have a drizzling of honey on top of it. Number 28. Okay. It says defense, conflict, pain, reactive, shadow, self, thorn, weapon, boundaries, disagreement. Okay, remember the thumbnail says, are you ready to see you? Are you ready to see you? So this is all about. The BlackBerry joins forces to serve as a warning, calling attention to potential pains and threats hiding among the brambles. Beware of the bewitching sweet berries, for they have a cunning to lure you into a fortress of thorns, which is true. Such thorns are sharp and malice, and one wrong step amongst them can draw blood. Interesting. Payne asks you to examine your methods of coping when you're caught in a jagged clutch of life thorns. Their advice is to keep a rational mind. Don't let emotions run too high, and above all, choose your battles wisely. So that's interesting about the pain, because what happened before I went to sleep, I bumped my knee. And I was like, oh my gosh, the pain. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, and then the altar, looking at the altar is like a sacred space of creation, a sacred space of when we're creating in that space, and when you are alchemizing in that space. And it is a living portal when we look at altars. Okay. So that is our first card already. So let's step into a little energy and take a breath. Get some water for yourself. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale it out. Let's start at the crown. Bring that energy down. That beautiful divine white light to the third eye, the throat, into the heart, down into the solar plexus, to the sacrum, to the root, down to the feet, into the earth star, into the water star, and dropping down into Mother Earth. Onto that higher timeline, breathing in. Breathe. Breathe. Break up all that static crap all around you and get rid of that stuff. All that particles of non-divineness energy that you might have picked up running around doing things today. That's not yours to have. And remember what I said before, having a tambourine is so nice because the frequency and shaking of it shakes things off of you, shakes up the energy in rooms, and it clears it out. That's what we just did. So, now, are you ready to see you? And when you do see you, are you happy of what you see? What is making you happy and what's not making you happy? Well, what you see in you. What are you not seeing? What are you seeing that doesn't make you happy? What is it? So what's the rebel going to say? Let's see what the rebel says to us. What does the rebel say? And then what is the resurrection from the rebel? And what have we forgotten? And I need someone to pick a number between 0 and 93. The first one that types it in is the one that I take. Okay, do I have a number? 21. All right, thanks for the number. I'm going to get one of our flower essence that we need to have. And I'm liking this. Okay. All right, so make sure you have a glass of water because we're going to use this for that part of do you see you? Are you seeing yourself? What makes you happy? What doesn't make you happy? Let's step into it. Oh, interesting. This is kind of interesting because it's the World Bridge signature, the Mayan signature today. So this one starts off with the visions of the life beyond death. Life beyond death. That's really stepping into seeing. That's a number 44. Okay, life beyond death. Let's take a look at that. We have the owl, we have the peacock, we have the raven, we have the third eye, we have an elder. Okay, visions of life beyond death. Sacred vision is awakening within you. You are becoming blessed with the ability to truly see, to see what is real rather than what appears to be. This is true insight. So when you see yourself, do you see yourself as your truth of your realness of who you are? Or is it something you're doing that's making you kind of feel like I'm just kind of fitting into this? Okay. There's a healing words to say, and I like this. So before we say the healing words, I'm going to show you what the matchup for the resurrection from the vision of life beyond death is. And it says crossing over. How weird. These both are dealing with those energies, and this is a number 7. So this one, she has a key that's balancing in her hand. And this one is right up the alley. Crossing over, shedding the old, the old. Go into a new with the positive outlook, filled with excitement, veered in curiosity. This will help you to live the best life you can, honoring your new rituals, regimens of your way of life. So when we say crossing over, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is all about crossover is the time to say goodbye to the you that you once knew. Can't make this stuff up. The question today is, do you see you? Are you seeing yourself? And this one is simply telling you to shed the old you that you need to shed. I have several altars and I'm always doing altar work. I have literally did a crossover. This is crazy. So the vision of life beyond death and then the crossing over. So we're going to tie these two together, and now I'll read the words to you of the vision of life beyond death. It says, say out loud, I now release any fear I have associated with seeing truth, with seeing beyond the veil of illusions. Pay attention to that word, illusions, or with my inner vision opening up from my heart, mind, and body. I release any wounding I have received and related to what I have witnessed at any time, especially where it is based in a fearful response of others. I ask that my vision be restored to its fullness through compassion and unconditional love. So be it. What a beautiful thing to say of how releasing these two cards, can't make this up, are on point of representing how you're crossing over by shedding, and you're releasing things that's the vision of life beyond death. So remember the word illusion, and now we have, what have we forgotten? The card number 11, illumination. So what is now really being brought into the light of the self? So the illumination light is going to bring this. Working on our light moves. I like that. Working on our light moves. You've probably heard this before. Maybe it was from someone in a tie-dye tank top at a music festival, or maybe from a famous astronomer, Carl Sagan. We are made of literal star stuff: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrite, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chloride, magnesium, and trace minerals. We are stars in a vessel. We are all made of light. And as we get connected to that light, we can imagine consciously letting it flood our system. So illumination. When you see yourself, do you allow yourself to illuminate? Do you allow yourself to shine your light? Do you allow your light to come forward so that you can see yourself? I think in today's world, we are so busy seeing other things, we don't see ourselves enough. And I think the only time we do see ourselves is when we're brushing our teeth, when we're doing our makeup, washing our face, spending time doing that. But otherwise, throughout the day, we're busy seeing others. We're busy scrolling. We're busy looking at something else that's outside of us. But when we have to reflect on ourselves and you look at yourself and you say, am I really happy with me? Am I happy with me? Am I happy with myself? Now, this is where we dive into that deep conversation. Am I happy with myself? Have you ever just made cacao or a tea and just actually sat down with yourself with a journal? Or maybe not even a journal. Just sit in a sacred circle space of your own and just sit there and ask yourself, what are you not happy with? And then just wait for your higher self to tune into you and say, what are you not happy with? What are you not happy with? What has been keeping you sad or only afloat? Just to kind of show up and look like you're happy, but you're not. Deep down inside, there's this, oh my God. Whew. Oh wow, that's really powerful. Hold on, guys. I'm getting a... Okay. This is so beautiful. What are you not really happy with yourself? And how do you need to look at yourself as an altar? You're the altar that needs to be renewed, that needs the stardust to sparkle again, that needs to be nurtured. The altar is you. You can come and go as you please, but you represent in that invisible self where you don't want people to see you, but you see yourself. That's beautiful. As soon as I was getting ready to say it, I heard the words, they're the altars. You are the altar. So, God, that's giving me goosebumps. So when you see yourself and you ask yourself, are you happy? What doesn't make you happy? You're the altar. What needs to change? What needs to shift and become illumination? What needs to illuminate? What needs to be the crossing over into something new? Because the visions of beyond death, what needs to represent that? What is that? Where's the deathing of the old self giving birth to when you cross over? Sometimes when you even come to a crossroads, if you don't have Papa Legba looking at you and you don't have Mother Hecate asking you to choose, there comes a time when you have to release something that is not allowing you your full potential. That is just keeping you there. So when we look at our altars, thank you. We look at our altars, we adorn it, we put all these beautiful things on it. We put these things that represents connection, that represents sacred, that represents ancestry connection, prayer connection, divineness connection. We are that walking, living altar. But sometimes what happens to us, we forget we have to put a new candle up, reunite the flame. We forget we got to dump the water out because it has captured everything in the air already, and you got to get rid of it and put a fresh glass, a fresh goblet of water there. And then we forget that sometimes we have to take our feathers or our incense and use it and kind of clear the space. Get rid of the dropped ash on your altars and clean the dust off. That's us. When we get the particles and stuff and heaviness on us, that weighs us down emotionally and mentally, and then physically and spiritually. And then the next thing you know, you're stuck and you're feeling stagnant, and you start questioning you get up here in highway mind, and you start going down the highway saying, is this what my life was supposed to be like? Is this what I was supposed to be doing? I thought I was supposed to be doing more. I didn't imagine it like this. Am I really happy? So right now is the perfect opportunity to see yourself in this being, I like that. See yourself altered, becoming the altar in a new way to illuminate the self. How would you adorn your altar? Your temple holds your soul, yes. But how do you set up your sacredness of your altar? How do you adorn it? How do you want the altar to be seen? Or do you want it to just be invisible? Do you want to just not be seen? And if you don't want to be seen, why? I don't know about you, but I'll tell you something. I can't stand it when I live in an apartment or you're renting somewhere and somebody has to come by and fix something and they have to walk through your space. I'm very picky. I have to have some kind of rapport with the maintenance person, check them out, vet them out, see what their energy is like. I don't like just anybody come waltzing up into my space. My space is sacred to me. And so you find yourself, you cover up your altars, especially because you don't want prying eyes on your altar of strangers coming in, looking at what you're doing. Okay? This one behind me, that one is it's like just love, basic love of my ancestors and people, and I'm not worried about it. They take care of themselves. They take care of themselves here. I don't have to worry about it. But my other ones, I'm like, I don't like anybody just coming up in my space and looking at it. They don't need to see that. That's private. It's almost like it's a part of you, an extension of you, that you're not willing to just go, hi, you're not doing that. You're like, no, you're very modest. You keep it under wraps. This is why, how do you really see you? Do you see yourself? And the parts of you that you see, do you love that? Or is that something still of fear? Because I know for me, I don't want people to see certain things that I have in my space because I don't want to deal with judgment, especially from closed minded people who like to be judging, because I don't walk their way in life. I walk my way. I do my own magic way of life. I don't walk like everybody else. And besides, I remember once, and this is a true story. I had a guy I was dating. We were together for some time. Then we broke up. Then we got back together. And I remember he was coming over to my cottage where I was living. And he wanted to put a new screen door on the front of the main door. So in the summertime, I could have the door open and it could be venting cool air coming through. And I wasn't home yet, so he brought someone with him. And I had my altar out underneath my window. Everything was on it. I was just getting back into the rhythm of myself. I was just, newly divorced, just recovered from my illness. I was just getting back into myself. I was still going back and forth getting my blood work done, and I was just coming back into myself. And I just put my altar up in this place where I was living, this new place. He comes over, he puts the door on, he goes in, he's doing it, and he decides he wants to go walk through my bedroom area. And this is the first time he's coming up to visit. But I'm not there yet. I'm on my way there. So he goes, he has someone with him, and he sees my altar, and he thinks it's okay for him to reach on my altar and be looking at my stuff and touching everything. Then he comes back after I call him to find out how did the door thing go. He goes, it goes fine, but I'm a little concerned. I said, you concerned about what? Well, I went into your bedroom and I saw your altar. I said, what were you doing in my bedroom? He goes, well, I was looking at the, I said, no, what did you do? He goes, well, I saw your altar and you had all these things on it. And what was the knife thing that had the stones and stuff on it? I said, that's called an athame. Did you touch it? He goes, well, I picked it up. I go, you had no right. I lost my shit. I lost my mind. We had just gotten back together. And I said, you had no right. And already I'm feeling violated. I'm feeling you went into my energy. I'm feeling I don't like this. I don't like how you're making me feel. And now you're making me feel guilty for being myself. And now I feel this judgment energy. And now I'm feeling like my ex-husband is acting out on me again. And you're representing that. I was off my rockers. I lost it. I cussed him out from sideways, back, all the way down. I said, how dare you? I walk with the goddess and I walk with myself and I am just getting back. And I said, how dare you? And he goes, I'm sorry. I said, I don't want to see you ever again. This is over. I hung up. I came home. He wasn't there, thank God. I went through, I had to take my altar down, cleanse and smudge everything, get everything out. And I just sat there and I cried. And I said, why do people feel like they have the right to violate my space? I would not do it to them. What gives them the right to do it to me? And I just bawled and bawled and bawled. And I remember just sitting there in this place where I lived. I told you guys a story about this place up in Auburn. It was a haunted little house. It had a lot of spirits coming through it. And I just sat there and I was just crying. And I just felt like, when can I get back to me? I'm trying to find me. I'm trying to get back to me again. I'm trying to find my happiness. I've been through shit. And I just remember sitting there and I just felt this presence come up behind me. And I literally felt like these hands on my shoulder. And I heard, it's okay. Let it go. It's okay. I turned around and I'm like, who's saying that? And then a cool little breeze went past me, and that was it. And then I felt a calmness come over me. But I just remember that feeling. And sometimes when we go through things, we show up being our true self and our rawness. And then the violation comes when people look at you and say, they don't get you. And then you sit back and you kind of go through this judgment thing on yourself and say, oh, maybe I was a little bit too much, maybe I showed too much of my mind, how I think. And maybe we start doing this maybe thing with ourselves. And then you know what happens? That sits with you. And it stays there. And it becomes that little thing that stays in the back. And it just makes you keep saying, why am I letting this control me? Where did I lose my happiness? And there's so many of us walking around. We're just trying to find peace and happiness. And when something comes out and it gets in your space and violates your space, and you lose it like that, because this is someone you trust. You figure, oh, he's not going to be rude and pick up stuff on my altar. He's not going to do that. Da, 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 da. He knows better. He should know better. Don't touch people's private stuff. But no. So from this energy, that's a little piece of that happiness that we have to take back. So here's the question for you today. Where did you leave your happiness? What happened to you that made you be just flatline? Flatline. Clear. That one. You had a beat. Okay? And then something happened and you just went, you ran flatline. Where did the happiness go? Where'd it go? Who took it? Who did you give it to? And better yet, how come you don't allow yourself to have it anymore? It's become a routine to just be a certain way and get through the day, do the routine. You know that movie, Last Holiday, with Queen Latifah and LL Cool J? The biggest part of that movie that she said is when you work yourself so hard, you keep your head down and you keep going, you keep just striving through, and then one day you look back, you see your age, and you say, how the hell did I get here? And what happened in between? Because we were so busy with our head down, going, trying to not make waves in the world, forgetting about the happiness inside, and just keep going. And then you look up and your life has passed you. And then what happens? She gets a diagnosis that she's going to die. She only has 3 weeks to live. Such a good movie. It's funny as hell. But now she's got to She's going to spend her money. She's going to eat whatever she wants. She's going to do whatever she wants. She's going to wear the red dress. She's going to go to the most expensive hotel and go stay there, $4,000 a night. She gives herself permission to go get into first class on the plane instead of riding in coach. She steps out of not seeing herself and steps into seeing her self-worth. And she gives herself permission. And she does it with grace. And then she lays in the bed and she's like, oh, I just love these blankets. Oh, she's loving this, the coziness of the blankets. She's loving how cozy it feels and it makes her so happy. She's just loving it. Yes, great movie makes you reevaluate life. Yes, exactly. That's where we are right now. We're having this last holiday moment where you're sitting back and you're saying, you know what, does this make me happy? Am I happy? Or have I let so much of the outside world take pieces of me and I don't even know where to begin to reconstruct myself on my altar? I need to go on a hunt and get those pieces back because they don't belong to the person, place, thing, or situation. Let's find out what Aroma Soma has to say. What was that number? 21. Okay. So let's look at 21. I love what I do. I love the Be So Light tribe. You guys are fire. You realize that? You are so intuitive. It's crazy how intuitive everyone is. Okay. Are you ready for this? Number 21 is the green and pink. New beginnings for love. New beginnings for love. Let's see how this plays out, shall we? New beginnings for love, the green and pink. When you shake it together, it becomes green, the base of the heart. The tarot card that it represents is the world. The I Ching is fire above, thunder below. Number 21, biting through. Main theme is new beginning for love. The affirmation, I hold the world in my hands. I hold the world in my hands. Positive personality aspects. A truly mature personality of the highest awareness who loves God and humanity. Someone who gives and receives loves and works with constructive ways, for example, writing, art, public speaking, but also within the family circle. Can realize and materialize dreams, is aware of goals and works to attain them. A person who needed by others, who knows that love is the basis of all life. Someone who is able to let the world run its course. Spiritually, it helps recognize that the love of God is expressed in the love of and for other people. It aids in overcoming resistance, giving up struggles, and finding a new joy and dedication to love. The emotional part, is the recognition of love that is already in one's life, and it balances giving and taking in love area. It makes it easier to understand dreams and helps a person cope with consequences of the external aggression. The spiritual, it helps recognize that love of God is expressed in love and for other people, and it aids in overcoming that resistance, and it dedicates for that joy and love. So here is the thing, that little self-love does not feel like love by others, or that looking for love and never receiving the love in a desired fashion. So when we have that love of self, we illuminate that. We illuminate that love. We vibrate that frequency of love. We become that living altar walking of love. Okay? So with that green and that pink, when we look at the heart and we look at the pink that represents the love energy that comes in, that is that wrapping up and nurturing part that comes into that. So when we step into the love of self, we are able to connect into what the truth of our happiness is. But you can't do it unless you love yourself enough to see yourself. You have to love yourself so much where you're able to say no to something that you know for a fact doesn't bring you happiness. You have to love yourself enough to do that. You have to love yourself enough to give yourself a chance to do something that you normally would not do. You would not do it because you would want to take a chance to do it, because you would worry about the outcome. So let's look at some flower essence. We're going to look at chrysanthemum, and then we're going to look at self-heal. The light's not letting me do it. Okay. So let's look at the spirit energy of chrysanthemum. Shift the ego identification from one personality to a higher spiritual identity. Make sure you have your water ready. Feelings oneself as transpersonal or transcendent. Patterns of imbalance is a fear of aging and mortality, identification with the youth and the lower personality of a midlife crisis. Cross-referencing, acceptance, addiction, aging, alienation, anxiety, attachment, avoidance, courage, death, and dying, denial, depression, and despair, egotism, escapism, false persona, father and fathering, fear, greed, individuality, life direction, lower self, materialism and money, midlife crisis, non-attachment, nostalgia, power release, resistance, self-actualization, selflessness, and true self. The soul spiritual part of ourselves is immortality. It chooses to continuously grow and evolve by incarnating in particular bodies and expressions of personality. If the soul loses connection with its true immortality, or if it is overinflated in the importance of the particular life, there will be great fear and avoidance of the physical death, such as the soul has a psychological need to firmly establish its personality in the world as a defense against death and mortality. Chrysanthemum flower gives such souls the ability to contact the true spiritual ego and to contemplate the impermanent nature of earthly affairs in the light of the higher self. So this one is asking you to connect into that higher self through chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum is that flower, that beautiful, big, pretty flower. And then there's a stone, that's the chrysanthemum stone, that's kind of black, has a white looking outline of a flower in it that's kind of ancient looking, has its own ancient look with that. So this is asking you for the ability to connect to that true spiritual ego of the higher self. It's basically the higher self. Let me roll this back up. Okay. Well, I didn't say anything, but that is where I flatline. I know I've been. Oh my gosh. Yes, flatline. Flatline. You know where I got that from? And it's not from just, being in nursing. And I remember when I was taking my, I think it was ACLS, or I think it was Advanced Cardiovascular Life Support Training. That was so boring to me. I was having a hard time with it because it was just like, oh God. And then I had no problem getting everything on and setting things up to do the cardio. But when they got to flatline, and I remember when you hear the beating of the heart, and then all of a sudden you hear that doo, and you hear, get the crash cart, let's go, da 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 da. I'm hopping up on the table, I'm doing compressions, and I'm waiting. Who's gonna do this? Get the. Where's the doctor? Where's the ER? Call in, page in, blah blah blah. He's crashing, da da da, and you're kind of sitting there, and you're in your mind. You hear that. Doo. How many times have we in our life had that moment where we just flatline? And everything with that flat line, when you watch that line go through the monitor, and it has a little ball of light on the end, and you see this line, but you just see this ball of light, but it goes like this, and it's just flat. It's no longer doing the rhythm. It's just this. So many of us are just right here. We lost this. We have to find our way back to this. The rhythm. We have to find our rhythm. We have to find our joy. We have to find our happiness again. And so many of us we become desensitized, or better yet, we became kind of disconnected, even though we're moving through a massive part of energy that we have to keep integrating and calibrating ourselves and reset ourselves. Okay, I don't feel so good. Okay, I'm here to, okay. It's this constant in and out, in and out, in and out, where we're constantly resetting ourselves, and we're trying to get a steady rhythm so we can stop going like this. Because this right here, oh yeah, I'm doing okay. How's life? Yeah, same thing. Oh, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna pay the bills. I'm not feeling, what now? The government did what? Whole thing just drops off. Leads and all. So, in all seriousness, we have to come out of our flat line and see ourselves. We have to give ourselves permission to see our beat. Whether it be the happiness, the joy, to reconnect. Because we've had too many of these. And this is what robs us. Because it's almost like an escalator. Okay? How even though the escalator goes up, but I'm talking about the other one at the airport, where you don't want to walk, you get on that one that carries you. What is that one called? It's almost like an escalator, but it's flat. and you just step on it. I can't do it. I almost hurt myself too many times trying to do that thing. And you just, and it, all it does is it takes you like this. While other people are walking faster past you, but this is going like this. And then you step off, hoping not to hurt yourself when you step off. So, isn't that the same thing when we have been lost to ourselves? We don't see ourselves anymore, and we're just riding a flat line because of the pain or something traumatic we went through. We have just been numb. We're scared to get involved again. We're scared to trust anymore. Everybody's out lying. Who's telling truth anymore? Does anybody even know truth anymore? It's like, what is this? So this is where we come back. Thank you, Grandma. This is where we come back and we step and connect back into the altar of self, the sacredness. And we look at ourselves as that beautiful altar and we said, how do I want to illuminate myself? How do I want to be seen? How do I want to feel? Because I don't want to do this anymore. How do I feel? How does my altar need to look? How does it need to look? Does that make sense? So the chrysanthemum's going to help, and then the self-heal. Self-heal is powerful. If you don't have that on hand, I highly suggest to everyone get some self-heal on hand, because self-heal brings in healthy, vital sense of self, healing benefit forces arising from within oneself, deep sense of wellness and wholeness. Patterns of imbalance is the inability to take inner responsibility for one's healing, lacking in a spiritual motivation for wellness, overly dependent on external help outside of you. So it's going to have the confidence, the cleansing, it has the conflict, denial, the doubt. It has healers, healing process, immune. It has the menopause, the midlife crisis. It covers that. Self-acceptance, seeking, resistance, rejuvenation. It works with shock, trust, and vitality, and self-actualization. And here's the thing. When we go through a flat line and you don't see yourself anymore, when we do this, it comes from that trauma, that shock, that pain that keeps us like this. And it takes either awareness or someone to bring it to our attention that we have been doing this. So when we come back and we get a rhythm, a heartbeat, we sync up. And really, when you look at that, it's the same thing when you take those two phones. You got your new phone that's flat, and then you got your old phone that has the rhythm. But you're going to take your old phone and you're going to superimpose it to the new phone. So your old phone has the beat. New phone is waiting for a connection so it can come out of its own flat line. So now you put them together and they sync up and they get a rhythm. And they take the files onto the new phone. And now your new phone is alive and your old phone is going bye-bye. It's the same thing when we need to sync up. When we sync up to our higher self, when we sync up to Creator or God of how you see that, that gives us back that flow. But we can't sync up until we see ourselves where we are in that flat line. Because coming out of a flat line is where you want to get your happiness and your joy and feeling good. It's that heartbeat. It's that heartbeat. When it slows down, where is this? You got to find this. And when you find it, you take it and you hold it. And you only do things in your life, just like she did in the last holiday, that put a smile on your face and it aligns with you. That's how you bring back your heartbeat. That's how you bring back your happiness. That's how you bring back your joy. You stop letting things take it from you and rob you and keep you in a flat line. Period. Our essence was, and I didn't know how to use them. And it was a long time ago, and try it again. I see them in an episode. Yes! This is what this one is good for. The self-healing is the final part. We're going to go ahead and switch that in. So get your glass of water because you're going to have chrysanthemum and self-heal. Self-heal is all about the great lessons and the powerful gift of self-heal is to enable the self to affirm and to draw from the deep well springs of etheric life towards true recovery and restoration. It's all about that part of you that needs to be revitalized. So I want you to take this time. When you get your water, I want you to hold your water. And I want you to say, this water is going to renew my altar of myself. And I just want you to hold it. And as you're holding it, bring it up to the camera. I'm going to transfer this into your glass. Taking a nice deep breath. Inhale. Breathe. Okay, pushing it again. And I'm going to add the colors of that pink and green. Activate. There you go. All right. So remember, you can drink down to half of it, put more water into it, and it will restore itself again. All right. So your prompting tonight is, I want you to take a piece of paper out, and this is going to be a good one. And I want you to just draw a line straight across it. Above the line is what you desire. Below the line is what you don't want anymore. The I don't want anymore stays below the line. What you want is above the line. Then I want you to take all the things you want from above the line, and I want you to have a rhythm where you have these little rhythms, these waves. And on each wave, I want you to put happiness, abundance, love, feeling alive, feeling open. And then I want you to sit with yourself after you write that. Close your eyes place your hands on your heart and just feel your heartbeat. See yourself, feel yourself, connect to yourself, breathe, release that breath, be yourself. Easy homework assignment. Because as we are moving into these energies, we have to keep calibrating. And what's happening, you might be calibrating heavy stuff on top of some things that still need to kind of come out of there. Hyperly. So this is that sacredness time right now. Draw that line. Above the line is all the things you desire. Keep it short and simple. Feel into it. And then below, what is the thing that you're going to shed it? That's not going to cross over that line. And then draw a new rhythm. Take the things above and put it on a new rhythm. All right. All right, lovelies. It's been my pleasure to show up once again for day 4 of this medicine. I wish all of you a good activation with this one. You can also use this rune if you want to draw it into your journal, just to remind you about the blackberry. Okay. And just go into this. This was a really good discussion of something that really needed to be said. And this is why I like doing this, because I never know. First of all, I stand right here and I'm like, okay, what's today's topic, you guys? What's the topic? What are we talking about? And then I get the topic and I go, okay, thumbnail, okay, fine, put it in there. I said, I have no idea where this is going to go, but okay. It never lets me down. I just love how everything just comes into place and shows you. So everyone has homework to do. I will see you tomorrow, and we will step into another journey of medicine as we are getting closer to the Plasma AI Atlas that's getting ready to come closer into our proximity. Now, I want you to understand something, and I want you to think about this. You know the first opening part of the movie Transformers? You remember the first opening part? They showed this energy coming towards the planet, and they had certain other ones behind it lined up with it, coming with it. Remember that? Go back to the very beginning of Transformers and look at that, how they were coming to the planet. Isn't that the same idea what they show us with 3i Atlas and the other ones behind it? Those other being rock things on the side of it coming with it. I don't know. I'm just saying, and I have no idea what that really means. Could it just be maybe we're having some transformative issues going on in our tissues? I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it just kind of reminded me about that. And if you need a refresher in life, then watch The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah and LL Cool J. I'm sure after you watch that, you will learn to go take that time to go get what you really wanted. You will go eat that food that you really wanted to go eat. And you will go to those places that you really wanted to go to and not live in fear of not doing that. You will stop that flat line and you will start giving yourself an in-sync line to be. All right. My name's Felicia, well known as the Galactic Spiral Light Priestess Makala. I'm asking you to have a great day and to find your rhythm, find your beat, find your heart, find your happiness, find your joy, find your light, and just illuminate. Bye. You're welcome.